Well, good afternoon, Springfield. I'm the co-host of the show, Gary Bingaman. I'm here with John Dittrich, and then we also have with us today Marilee Daugherity. So it's an exciting day, and to do that, as we get started, you're listening to It's Your Money Radio, where you can make more money, save more money, and you can have more money for all of your financial goals.
You did that very well today, Gary.
I've been trying. You keep talking about having a shot and taking it when I mess up. So,
how are you doing your name today, Marilee?
Oh, he nailed it.
Nailed it. Okay. We are off to a good start on this beautiful day.
It is a beautiful
day.
day.
Yes, nice fall day.
And then we're going to start talking about a topic today that's not so much on the beautiful, but something we have to get to.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Enjoy the beautiful day today, because you know in January, if you've been in Springfield for very long, you know what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
It can change in a minute, can it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm with Gary Bingaman. I'm with A&D Mechanical Services. I'm your full-service plumbing, heating, and air specialist. Our phone number is 417-866-8257. And today I want to talk for just a few minutes about the ice storm. How many of you guys remember the ice storm?
Oh, yeah.
Very well.
I know you did.
I remember more than one.
Oh, yeah, I remember a few. Didn't we have one in 87 or 88 just before I moved here?
Okay.
In 91, we had all the ice that stuck on the ground and they had to scrape out. And then, of course, was it 2000?
2007.
And 7. That's the one most of us might remember. My wife was one of those that she would keep the house at 60, and I'm always freezing. And she'd keep it at 60. After that ice storm, she decided it's 70. She froze.
I bet.
She did. She froze like that. But you're thinking, why would you talk about an ice storm? I told you last week to turn your furnaces on, make sure they work, so you can get it set up. What I want to say is, what do we do to prepare for an ice storm?
Right.
Yeah. And one of the things that you can do that's fairly inexpensive would be to, if you have a fireplace, to put a gas log. Someone would say, why a gas log? I'm going to tell you why. A gas log can be 100% efficient. All the heat can stay in the house. You have got to buy one that's a ventless gas log. You can blank off the top of your fireplace. It stops heat from rising and running out. You only get about 50 to 60% of the heat from your fireplace enters your house.
Now, I've got a couple questions. First, you close your fireplace flue.
Yes.
Because it's not going to generate carbon dioxide gas.
No, carbon monoxide, but you're close.
Okay,
Yes.
Well, carbon something. I'm not a scientist.
The bad gas.
advisor.
Yes, no, it's the bad gas that's silent and deadly. Yes, that's the gas.
Okay,
There's
that
a
gas.
detector for that, by the way. You could
Yes.
purchase.
Yeah, and you should have a detector for that. Go ahead.
Yes, I should. And do I have to have a gas line going to my house?
Yes. Well, you don't have to. There are people in the country that will have a gas log as a backup, but they'll use propane to do it.
Okay.
If you've got an all-electric house, it's not the best way, but it's a really good way. If you have propane, you can have a smaller tank they can set up for you. You can run a line in. Not only are they decorative, but they also can save your life or save your property when it gets really cold. Because not only do we freeze and get cold, but our pipes get freezing cold. And when our pipes get cold, they can break.
Right.
And you know, it's not the breaking pipes that kill you as much as when they thaw out.
Yep.
And then they did.
I know that.
You know that. You flood that house, you end up having to flood all of your prized possessions. And so to do that, that's one way. The other way you can do it is if you have a gas fireplace, call us out. We can run gas to it. You don't even have to do that. They make a wall furnace that could be an emergency furnace.
Yeah.
All you have to have in a house in Springfield and under most codes is you have to have a gas burning appliance that vents to outside as your primary heat source. But anything else can be backup heat. So you can use it for backup heat. And during that last ice storm, many people could stay in Springfield because they did have it. There are things you have to watch. They're not 100% carbon monoxide free. So you need to have carbon monoxide detectors. You need to run them when you're in the house. You need to open some windows. But you can safely operate them to do that. When they come, they tell you how to do it. But that's one of the things you could do. It's just an excellent precaution. The other would be go with generators. It's not very expensive if you go with a lightweight generator to be able just to run your furnace and a few items. To do that, you don't have to have something that can run your air conditioning. I keep my generator, all it does is power the heat. It powers the heat. I have electric hot water heater, It's got enough gumption that it will give me some hot water, and we can survive. And I have a gas fireplace, so together we can do it all.
So if somebody's worried about this, who do they call?
They need to call me. A&D Mechanical, 417-866-8257. So yeah, we're kind of talking about those disasters. And you don't have to prepare in Springfield for the great apocalypse when something major has, but you should be prepared for natural disasters, which we can have right here. That just come out of nowhere. They kept saying it was going to happen, it's going to happen. Who would have thought that some people would be out of electricity for 3 weeks?
Yeah, right. And we've seen it. And if you're not staying in your house, that's when you really have a problem. You let everything freeze over, you come back, and you've got flooding. So you stay in your house, you run some water, keep those pipes from freezing, and it'll save you a lot of money in the long run.
And your protection because you're there.
You're there. Your
When
house is
when
protected
I
from-
would drive around, I did a lot of work that time, and everywhere I went at night was jet black. And
Yeah.
all I could think of was people would be, these are great neighborhoods to target as a thief.
So that's what you're thinking?
No, I'm not thinking for me. I'm thinking, that for my house, I kept lights on and other things. But people
Yeah.
don't realize it. But yeah, that just opens it. My neighborhood, I messed up the first night I had my generator running. My furnace was tied to my outdoor lighting. And I came home in the middle of the night. I'd been out working all day. I came home and my whole front yard was lit up. And I thought, I ran home, flipped it off, and I thought, you just look crazy. You've got all these lights. People are going to feel like, what are you doing?
Show off.
Show off, that's it. And then we started running cords to our neighbors. And then as people got on them. But there are a lot of ways we can even set that up. So it's really easy to do that.
Well, that's a good idea. Call Gary Bingaman.
Call
and
A&D
get
Mechanical.
prepared
That's right.
for what's coming in January.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying it will, but we know it can.
It can.
Or before.
And with all the
Or
crazy,
before January.
with all the crazy weather we've been having, all the hurricanes and everything, weather's getting extreme. It's getting a little crazy, and I'm not, I'm not talking about
Hey, look at our
global
August.
warming or anything.
No,
Let's
we had
just
an
look at the real facts.
August, extremely cool.
Yeah.
September, I did more air conditioning calls in September and October than I did in all
Right.
of August.
Wow.
And that's, just because we have that, like you said, strange weather.
So be prepared for what's likely to happen.
Hey, John, how do you help us out to get prepared, or what do you do?
Well, I mean, just staying on this topic, and I was thinking, when I'm talking to somebody about investing, all right, and if you want to do any investing, give me a call at 417-763-3345 at DB Advisors. But as any good advisor, what they're going to tell, first of all, you have to have cash, okay? So you should have some cash at home for emergencies. This is what we've always done. $400 or $500, maybe $1,000. But just if something happens on the weekend, something urgent occurs, maybe the electricity's out and you can't use your credit cards, you can go to the store with cash and buy some whatever you need, right? Cash is king, especially in an emergency when there's
Exactly,
no power.
yeah.
Right.
During that.
So have some cash at home, okay? And then, when we get power back or when there's scattered power, you can use your debit cards or credit cards. So you have to have a bank account and have another, and it varies based on person, but have a few more $1,000 in the bank. And then, you've got your emergency funds, you've got your funds set back for a few months of being unemployed or something like that, and then start investing. And we've got plans that start as little as $1,000. So if you're looking at just getting started in investing, or if you have millions of dollars, we can help you at DB Advisors. And, we're always fee-based advisors, and we will sit down with you. We'll talk about risk. We'll talk about what are your plans for retirement. We can do a complete retirement plan for you. College plans, whatever urgent financial needs you have. We have a client questionnaire that clarifies all of this that you fill out before you meet with me, and it really gives me a great insight as to what you need to do with your
And anyone could fill one out, because I'm filling one out right now. He sent it to me. It's not rocket science.
Yeah, and-
it's just looking.
And I
at
asked for some information, and everything's completely confidential. First of all, I'm not going to talk about you on the radio. And second, if you, I don't need exact numbers, Gary. You know, if you don't know exactly how much you owe on your house, that's something I ask. You know, an estimate is fine. This isn't going to be audited. It's just some information to help me make better financial decisions with you. So that's really the sequence of events, though. Have some money at home for emergencies. Have some money in the bank in case, you know, you need to go out of town and stay at a hotel somewhere so that you can use your credit card or your debit card. And then, you know, build up that credit so you can do those things. Or have, you know, have your home prepared with generators and heaters and things like that. So, you know, everybody needs to have their eyes open in this world for things that are likely to happen. We can't prepare for the things that are unlikely to happen because we just don't know how to prepare.
Oh, yeah.
You know, unless, you know, Noah knew to build an ark because God told him there's going to be a flood. But he was definitely not prepared for an earthquake or a volcano.
Never thought of it that way, but that's true.
You
He
know,
was
he
he
knew-
was only prepared for one
But we
event.
don't have divine wisdom as to what's going to be the major thing. But we know we have icy weather and we have power outages in Springfield.
Right.
We know we can have a tornado from time to time. We know what kind of things that we face here. So let's just be smart and be prepared, and don't end up on the wrong end of the stick there when
Disaster.
Now, how many-
the
Yeah.
S hits the F.
Now, yeah, how much water do you keep? I know you're pretty giving this
well,
a lot of thought.
you know, and we like clean water. Okay, so we have a water machine, and so I keep 4-gallon jugs of water, and I keep 6 of them. So we use 1 or 2 of them a week. So I always have 4, and so worst case scenario. I mean, you can do things. You can fill up the bathtub, and you know if you're prepared and if you're warned. But if something happens without warning, I've got 16 gallons of water minimum in my house. That's
There you
cool.
go. There you go.
You know,
And
that
you
gives me a few days to think of a plan.
Right.
And, you know, and keeping food and thinking through these things. I think sometimes we as younger people have forgot what our grandmas and stuff, because they knew when power was just moving in this area, they knew that cars and, you know, getting to it, they always had stuff that was kind of prepared in case something happened. And I think somewhere along the way, we've kind of forgot those things to do that.
I like to use the freeze-dried food. And you just add a little bit of water,
Yeah.
and that's really big too. You can order that online.
So,
Just, I don't know if we're hearing you all right. You hearing everybody out there? Give us a call, let us know. And give us a call if you want to talk to any of us about the subject, 862-9977. So, yeah. What did you do? Freeze-dried food?
Yeah, freeze-dried food.
Well, I like just having rice and beans. That's like freeze-dried food. A bag of rice and a bag of beans will keep you from starving to death.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it'll last forever if you keep it in a cool, dry
yeah, you got
place.
that. Yeah. And then, like I said, we keep a generator. I kind of got the frozen stuff. So,
Yeah.
you know, you could work it out. And if you can't run your oven or stove, I have enough power to run my microwave. So
Mhm.
you could be a pretty proficient cook with a microwave and a slow cooker.
But between the 3 of us, we'll get you prepared. Marilee, how are you going to help prepare us?
Well, there are a few things. Just people need to consider having some other things on hand, such as a flashlight, like you said, cash, extra batteries. Other things to consider is a first aid kit, just in case there were to be an accident, or you need to be able to attend to somebody. Also, keeping your gas tank full, or at least on
That's a
halfway.
good idea.
That's what I always forget, because my gas tank's always like low.
Yeah, I just had that conversation with my son this morning. I said, we're getting to that time of year, you want to consider making sure that your gas tank is always above the middle mark, and making sure
Mhm.
that's on the high end,
Especially in the wintertime.
especially in the winter
Do
time.
you recommend to them to keep blankets and stuff in the car?
I do. I do like them to have blankets and water. And I know I like to have those hand warmers that you can get at Walmart. A lot of the times you can get a package of those, and
You break
you
the,
break them, and then you can have them in your car as well. So water and blankets, and then your little hand warmers, and then a lot of the times you can have granola bars, that sort of thing, in your car, in case you're stuck on the side of the road for a period of time.
yeah, I usually try to keep extra batteries set up for my phone. I know
Mhm.
that, I have one of those you recharge, but I've seen them out there, you throw 2 AAs in. It doesn't have to be a long term, but at least it will give you a little battery time if something happens. And I know we think it can't, but every year you read about someone that slid off in a ditch or somewhere, you know, it's been in that for 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially if
Absolutely.
it snows a lot and a snowplow truck comes and buries your car halfway.
Oh, yeah.
That could be a dangerous
Yeah.
situation.
Absolutely.
We'll be talking just a few minutes more with Marilee, but right now we're going to go. Let's talk about some of our other sponsors. One of our sponsors is Dr. Michael Miller. He's with Family Back and Neck Care. His phone is 889-2225. They're located at 1440 East Republic Road. He's the guy you can talk to with ketones, but he also does traditional chiropractic and he does acupuncture. So to do that. And with that, we're going to run to break. Well, you're listening to It's Your Money Radio, where you can make more money, you can save more money, you can have more money for all of your financial goals. And you're here today with your host, the wonderful John Dittrich. We're here with Marilee Daugherity, and I'm Gary Bingaman. And we've been talking a little bit about what today? About things that you have. Another one of our sponsors today that will be is to do with us is Heather Rooney McBride. She's with Rooney McBride and Smith. That's our actual sponsors. I hear we're going to have some different ones coming in. They're there for all of your legal needs. Not only do they handle, as she's talked about, trust many times, they could do bankruptcy, they could do collections for you, they could even take care of those pesky tickets. So she could do it all if you need her. That's Rooney McBride and Smith, and their phone number is 417-708-9681.
Yeah, and I just actually had a conversation with Gary Smith, and he's going to be on the show next month, and so is Heather, and so we have a lot of them on the show in the next month or so, and they did a great job. I just had a little bit of paperwork to fill out as a business owner. Sometimes you get in a situation, if you don't fill that paperwork out right, you can get in trouble. And I just had a lot of stuff going on in my personal life, and I just felt like, I'm pretty good at stuff, but let's just have them look it over for me. And, it's just a good idea. It might cost you a little bit of money, but some of those things, and if you're a business owner, you know what I'm talking about, you better get that right when you answer, when you answer a letter or complaint or
Right.
anything that's going on. And I'm not saying it wasn't a complaint, but,
You never hear anyone complain for paying their premiums for insurance when they're collecting the money. But you sure might if they didn't pay for it.
Right, that is true.
You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Call you up and say, don't I have that policy? And you say, no, you came by and you said, I don't want that
Right,
policy.
yep,
And I know that's horrible, but I know that it does happen.
it does.
So you had some other things we were just talking about before the break on some of the safety for this season coming up.
Yeah, families, it's really important for them to establish a plan for when disaster strikes. There is a government website that you can go to create a family communication plan, and that can be found at https://www.ready.gov/make-a-plan, and families can go there and make a emergency communication plan, so in the case of a disaster, they can have a plan in place to communicate. Other elements to the disaster, especially in this area with the extreme cold, is to make sure that you are getting your house ready. You can definitely have a contractor come out and make sure that your roof is structurally stable to withstand the weight of snow, and make sure that any repairs that need to be completed prior to the severe weather get completed. That's always really good.
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, and it's really being proactive to make sure that you're eliminating your area of risk, especially if you have some concerns on your roof. Winterizing your vehicle, it's always good before this time of year hits to go in and meet with your mechanic or car shop. Make sure that they're checking for antifreeze in the brakes, make sure the heater and the defrost work. Of course, checking your tires, your windshield wipers, to make sure the wipers are in good shape and don't need to be replaced. And again, back to the gas, making sure that your gas tank is at least half full or on the top end of the tank. So yeah, a lot of the times you can keep extra items in your vehicle especially like an extra portable phone charger,
Mhm.
the ice scraper, and then also if you need any jumper cables. You never know, you might be out there and the next person maybe didn't think about needing jumper cables or some of those items, and you have them, so you can always be helpful.
Assist somebody else, that's fantastic. Yeah, I keep thinking about everything you talked about. I'm thinking about taking a piece of paper, taping it over half of my gauge, putting an E there, and just write winter on it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think about it. I do quite a lot of driving in Springfield, and it would just not be that hard. I fill it up every time it gets low, but just
Oh, I'm the worst. I don't even think about it until my car tells me.
until you're, well, I
Yeah.
don't either. My one truck has a big red gas, it looks like a little gas pump. When that starts flashing, that means it's at the bottom of the bottom.
Yeah.
That's when you roll down the hill and you're going, please, don't let me have to be embarrassed in the street. Let me roll into the gas station.
Right, absolutely. Another good thing is to have the apps. There's, I know KY3 Severe Weather has an app, and they will send you notifications of severe weather that are headed in the area, so that way you get some sort of a notification on your cell phone.
Does it sound like that?
Yeah, I don't think it sounds like that. What do you got going on over there?
Oh, that was just my notifier. That is my notifier. And if it was KY3, that's what would have sounded like.
That's funny.
My wife says I have selective hearing. I kind of think, I want to say I have some hearing loss. And so that makes sure that I get people's, 10 years ago or 7 years ago when I started the company, I actually posted text or call. 2 years into this, a lady calls me and said, you didn't go out to my rental yesterday. I'm mad. You never called. She said, no, I texted. I found out right then I had to have something that would wake me up and say, hey, guy, you have something on there. And so I have ever since then. So, and it's kind of a surprising text for me. People just don't understand that I have a notifier. That's a little Usher tune there.
Yeah, brings attention to the situation a little bit.
I just wanted to bring attention to me. There's one thing I found out, that people just don't like you to feel like they've been shrugged off.
Oh yeah, no.
And you know how that is.
Yeah.
I love my cell phone and I hate it. We just have this horrible relationship. So, anything else you got,
It's also really important to make sure that when you're going in and out of your house, especially if you have children or visitors, make sure that you have the rock salt, make sure that your driveway and your walkways are clear. You don't want people coming over, visitors, that sort of thing, and to slip and fall. Elderly and disabled relatives and neighbors, we have a lady that just moved in from, California, kind of catty corner from our house, just got no relatives here. And so I know that if things get bad, we're making sure we're checking on her. But it's really important to make sure that you are checking on the people that you know that can't necessarily get out and get around and help themselves. So I really encourage neighbors to really look after their other neighbors and make sure that.
Yeah, well, that's really great, because I know, I always like to call my mom and call my sister when I hear something happen, but what if the phones are down? Phone lines go,
So we kind of have to be some of our brother's keeper to check
It's
on those
really nice
people
to
around
have
us.
people
yeah.
in the neighborhood like Marilee.
Yeah, absolutely. I like to think I'm a good neighbor.
I think.
Well, I think you
Good
would probably
church.
be a great neighbor,
Yeah.
You could, at least if we knew that there was something that we shouldn't be doing, like letting that line hang out there at Arc all night, you would probably come and tell us.
Yeah.
You might want to fix that. You have
Right.
an insurance liability there.
Well, I did tell my neighbors one time that they might want to consider having their tree cut down because I think it might land on in my kitchen, but that's a little yeah, so just make sure that you're aware of the weather and what's happening. Just make sure that you have everyone that you need to be able to contact and to make sure you have a plan in place.
I also have a battery backup for my phone, like an extra life on your phone if
Yeah.
it's not out of power.
And then I guess if you're like, not everyone has the luxury of not being able to drive when it gets really icy. Some of us, like in our business, I have to do it. So we try to keep the tires up and maybe chains if we actually have to have it.
Yeah,
I notice Uncle Sam does with the post office. I mean, they'll come clanking down the road, so, to do that. But that's something that we have to do, because that's when we might get called out. And you'd rather have us come out in the ice and the snow to fix your heat
Then not.
than not,
Then
yes.
be shrugged off.
Yeah, they'd be shrugged off, yeah. I would definitely hear about it. No, we as long as it's safe enough to travel, we will try to get out to you. I don't think we've had but 1 or 2 days. I'll tell you what, those last couple of years, we've had that real thin glaze in kind of the middle of the day, and everyone's just tooling around, and all the way it goes from, yeah, that's it, just everywhere you go. My guys were coming back from being in somewhere near Clever, and it took them an hour and a half to come from Clever to Springfield. That was a horrible day.
Yeah.
I was out and I hit it and I thought, I'm gonna go home. I don't need to collect anymore today. I don't need to do anything, so, yeah. Well, we're talking about it, I'm starting to freeze and it's still a few months off.
Getting things ready.
So it's, we were saying, what about it's the January ice storm that we're likely to get?
Yeah, I don't know. We just need to be ready. We don't know if it'll be an ice storm or not, but it's definitely bad weather. You know, you just want to be prepared. You know, another good thing to look at is your garage door opener, to make sure that you know how to work the manual button or the manual lever. Know where it's at.
You know what? That's a great idea, because I met people that I've had to go in and pull the handle and open their door. They really had no concept. It was like a young lady one time, you'd think I'm joking, she came and she said, I don't know that I can get back in my car, my key fob won't work. And I said, she really didn't have a knowledge. I mean, these people have been their whole lives with a key fob.
Yeah.
That you can stick a key in a lock and turn it. When's the last time? You know, I don't think I've used my truck key. I don't think I've ever put the key in the door. In fact, I only have one door that has a key lock on it. But it's funny. But you know that's the same with that. That's what I was getting to. That concept.
Yeah, the garage door.
The garage door. What in
Has
the
a
insurance?
manual?
What should we look for to be prepared from our insurance portfolio for these times?
Well, meaning cost-wise, or?
Well, like flood insurance, sump pump insurance.
Yeah.
You know, the things that deal pretty much with emergencies.
Right. Well, you know, flood insurance at this time is regulated by the federal government, and the only way you can purchase it through an individual agent, but that agent always has to go through FEMA, which is through the federal government. And a lot of people have this misconception that the flood insurance is, or their homeowner's insurance covers flood, and that is definitely not true. Anytime that there is a flood, it's not covered unless you have a flood insurance policy. Sump pumps is always good. It is usually 90% of the time you have to have an extra endorsement. And so just because you have a homeowner's policy and you have a sump pump doesn't mean that it's always going to be covered. I highly recommend that if someone has a sump pump and they're not sure if it's covered or not, to call their agent immediately and see if it's covered, and if it's not, to get it added on, because it's really, really inexpensive for that coverage.
And I know, being in my field, you get called out, usually called out after it's failed and the basement's flooded and the people are trying to do all of the things that we hate to do after, you know what I'm saying.
Right, and you know, bursted pipes, something that is immediate burst of water, and if it's because of a pipe that's broken on the inside of the house, then that is considered something that's covered on a homeowner's policy. So, of course, you always want to take preventative measures to make sure that your pipes are wrapped and you are trying to keep the house at a reasonable temperature, and a lot of the times keeping a constant drip going through the water.
Insulate your crawl space.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then and the other simple thing is, if you have to go away in the winter, one thing you do is turn your water off. If it's turned off either at the street or inside, that lessens the likelihood of problems. People wouldn't understand. I don't know how many you get. Do we still get a lot of the broken washing machine hoses? For a while, that was pretty.
Not so much.
There were a lot of claims for that.
Yeah.
The newer hoses have got an inside with a metal outside, but in the old rubber hoses, they would just burst. And I don't know if they were covered or not. Was that covered? Well, you don't have to answer
A
that.
sudden burst, yes, is covered. And we did have a lot of washing machine claims. I know that with the front loaders, a lot of those, we had some claims with those where they weren't latching right or closing correctly, so they would create a flooding situation. So we have had those situations, yes. And we do recommend that people, when they're doing their laundry, to do it while they're at home and not start a load and leave.
Yeah, I had a lady that, she was married to a fireman, and he told her, never leave the dryer, never leave the dryer. One time, years later, she left the dryer on, and actually had a fire in the dryer.
Yeah.
So her husband used that as always the key, don't do this, because,
Yeah.
you know, she.
Some of the newer dryers, they have lights on them if your dryer, what
The vent,
the
yeah.
vent gets clogged, but some of the old ones don't.
No,
Right.
So that's a big.
There's
cause
a lot of
fire.
them that, you know, we don't have that high amount of gas dryers, but even in the gas dryer.
Right.
I went to someone's house the other day and they put in a comforter that exploded, literally.
Oh, my word.
And all of the dust is everywhere. Well, dust becomes very flammable. It's, you know, it's one of the things. Now, we've been speaking now with Marilee Daugherity. She's with Clarity Insurance and Financial Services. She's home, auto, and how many other things are you?
Oh, goodness. We do auto, home, life, disability, long-term care, annuities. We do some tax planning and business insurance, RV, recreational vehicles, renters insurance, pretty much everything.
And then I
You're
saw
getting to be a really big firm.
Right?
Yeah,
For a
and
long
then
time.
I don't know how many of you saw her, but she was on TV. When I saw her, she
Yeah.
was talking about you know, how you can have the identity fraud, and you even have insurance for that.
Yes, we do. We have insurance for that as well. So pretty much if it's insurable, we can insure it.
You can do it. You're the Lloyds of Springfield.
Well, yeah, pretty much.
Or the Lloyds of the Ozarks. There you go.
Lloyd's of the Ozarks.
Aren't they the ones that do not insure anything that's
Pretty
insurable?
much, yes. Yes.
If you haven't heard of Clarity Insurance and Financial Services, you're just not paying attention.
There you're not.
They're doing a lot of work for a lot of different people.
Yes, you are. We're going to go ahead and take a break now. We'll be back in just a few minutes. You're listening to It's Your Money Radio. Well, you're listening to It's Your Money Radio, where you can make more money, save more money, have more money for all of your financial goals. We've been here today with your host, John Dittrich, and I'm Gary Bingaman, and we have our special guest today, Marilee Daugherity, here today. We're going to talk about Scrivener's Solutions for just a minute. They're one of our sponsors. Gayla Scriveners, Gayla and her team of virtual assistants can help you out. They help this show. They do all kinds of things. She has professional administration. ScrivenersSolutions.com. When you go there, 5 things you must know before you hire a virtual assistant. And if you've never tried a virtual assistant, it is completely different. And I'm used to having someone right there. But she can do so much for you without ever, you don't have to see her very often, which is not, I like Gayla a lot, so that's not that we don't want to see her. But she can do stuff, and when she needs to come by, she will. She makes cards for us. She does a lot of things, and they're really good. I know she's been gone and being able to handle all of her work by all her professional people that work with her. We have one that does our Facebook and social media.
Yeah, if you go to ScrivenersSolutions.com, and it's Scrivener, there's no S, that's Scriveners.
Did I say S?
Yeah, but it's
Scrivener Solution,
ScrivenersSolutions.com. Shot And if you sign up and get that free book, you'll also get an email. It's once in a while. She doesn't bombard you with emails, but useful tips. She's a business coach, and useful tips on your business and marketing and just being, especially for a business owner, sometimes just taking a break with your family, just helpful things. So I enjoy reading her emails when they come.
Oh yeah, she has a great, I read her text. One of the things people don't understand, she's a brainstormer. If you just want to brainstorm with someone, she's excellent to kick ideas off of. She really has a very contemporary knowledge of how business runs. And it may not be, she spent a lot of time in the medical industry and some other things with her background. So to do that, phone number is 276-6009. And now we're going to be back with Marilee Daugherity. And Marilee, we're going to talk about snowstorms and extreme cold today.
Yeah, some tips that we have for people that are during a snowstorm and extreme weather. One of them is to stay indoors during a storm. If you don't have to be outside in the cold weather and in the storm directly, then we highly recommend that you stay inside and only drive when it is absolutely necessary. We recommend that you travel during the day, don't travel alone, and always make sure that you keep others informed of your schedule and your route. So if you go one particular way every day, then you want to make sure that you don't decide to take a different route on that stormy, snowy day.
That does make sense. That
Yeah.
place is pretty, yeah.
Well, yeah, that way if you don't show up where you're supposed
Yeah,
to
they'll
be,
follow you. They say, you
They'll
go
know where
from
to
here
look.
to here to here.
Exactly, they'll know where to find you. So, yeah, they want you to stay on the main roads and avoid any back roads or shortcuts. That's also for law enforcement or, emergency services. If they needed to find you, then it's more easy to find you on one of the main roads rather than a back road somewhere.
Well, it just makes sense. The main roads are going to be the best taken care of roads.
Right, they're going to be
most
cleared.
part.
Oh, yeah.
that
They're
sort
going to
of
be
thing.
cleared and they're
I
salted.
try to find out where the fire routes are, and they'll clean those first. And sometimes, if you know where they are, because like I said, we have to do a lot of driving when there's snow on the ground. You can go down them, like Grant Street will always be cleared. I know it's strange. You'll find little hiccups. The hill going up 13 north over the overpass for the railroads tends to be a very slick spot, and there's a lot of times that will be a real stop-up area. So,
Yeah.
talk to people that drive a lot, find out what they can help you out with. I would agree with that.
Absolutely, yep. Another thing is snow shoveling. When you are keeping the drives cleared off and your walkways cleared off, overexertion for especially for people that are older, that they're at risk of heart attack or health conditions, that sort of thing. If you have an older neighbor, you might want to consider maybe helping them to shovel their drive or their walkways. I think it's a great activity for if you have teenagers, send them out next
Yeah.
door and have them
That's
shovel
right.
some drives.
I
So
taught my son to do that when it's
Yeah.
a heavy
Yeah.
snow, especially where it takes a lot of work. He helps me, and my wife loves to shovel, so she helps
Just
too.
a way to let my neighbors know I am the elderly neighbor.
Well, when we're
stick a
done,
sign up.
when we're done with our driveway, and we see somebody who might be a little older in our neighborhood, we'll go shovel theirs.
Yeah, that's-
and we have a really nice older couple in our neighborhood, and they give us hot cocoa, so it's really worth it.
So
There you
it's nice
go.
to be neighborly.
It's good. It's
Yeah.
It's, we talk about
Especially
the
in our
Ozarks.
times and
Yeah,
difficult
it
times.
is. I think the Ozarks tends to still be neighborly.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And when you're doing those walks and driveways, make sure you're taking breaks and and you're lifting in lighter loads and not to overdo yourself. So we also recommend keeping dry. If you do have wet clothing on, please just make sure you change that clothing to prevent loss of your body heat, because that can happen really, really rapidly. If you must go outside, they recommend wearing several layers of loose-fitting, lightweight, warm clothing rather than one layer of heavy clothing. To wear mittens, which are warmer than gloves, and of course I always recommend the warmers that you have. And then, of course, to wear a hat to cover your mouth, or cover your head, and then a scarf for your mouth, so to make sure that you're keeping that area. So.
Yeah. Yeah, people don't realize mittens, your fingers are close together, so you
Yeah.
get internal warmth rather than being, oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what else do you have for us today?
Well, when you have the snowstorms or extreme cold, the government does have a place where you can text to see if there is a local shelter that's close to you. So if you're out of heat or that you don't have a good situation where you're at, you can always text the word shelter plus your zip code to 43362, which is also the number 4 and FEMA, and you will get a response text message back with the nearest shelter in your area. So again, that's the word shelter and your zip code to the number 43362, and that's an abbreviation, of course, for FEMA. So, and they encourage you to bring personal items that you would need to spend the night, such as medicines, that sort of thing. And then, of course, always take precautions when driving to the shelter and dress warmly. So, yeah.
And folks out there, sometimes you may not get all of this information. If you go to our Facebook site, you can see any show. This would be a great show. You may want to go back and write some of these things down.
Absolutely, and people really want to get familiar with the upcoming lingo that's going to be out there on, the news sites and the awareness out there. So freezing rain, sleet, wind chill, weather advisory, winter storm watch, winter storm warning, blizzard warning, and frost freeze warning. You want to make sure that you and members of your household are familiar with those definitions and what those items mean, especially when they are out there driving, commuting back and forth to work, that sort of thing. So you want to make sure that everyone knows what those items mean.
Excellent. We've got a whole lot of information today. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. Remember, anytime we're on the radio, you can always give us a call. We're just about off today, but you can always get in and make a phone call to us at 862-9977. We're going to have someone next week. John's going to be talking to Dustin Turner with Hawthorne Bank. What should we be talking about, John?
Well, a little bit more of what we talked about today. I had lunch with Dustin on Tuesday, Taco Tuesday, and we were talking about their bank and all of the great features that they have for a money market account that pays really good interest. So you have access to your money, like you said, great for an emergency fund because there's no penalty to get your money out, but it still pays over 1% interest. So it's variable rate, but he'll update us on that, how much that's going to be paying. They have second chance checking accounts for people who may have had unfortunate things happen in the past and they can't get a checking account.
No, that happens a lot.
They'll give you a second chance. So they have a lot of different features and offers. They're one of the only local banks left in the Springfield area. They're here in Springfield and in St. Louis, and that's it. So it's a small local bank where they'll get to know you and work with you.
Now, is Hawthorne Bank at the corner of Battlefield?
They're on Campbell I think they're near Battlefield. But
Yeah,
they
right
have
at
a
that
big
corner, yeah.
mural on the side of the
Yes,
building.
that's right at Campbell and
Yeah,
Battlefield.
but he'll be with me next week, and we're going to be talking about those things.
Well, that's fantastic. If you need to get a hold of Marilee Daugherity, she's with Clarity Insurance and Financial Services. Your phone number is 887-6261.
Extension 12.
Extension 12. Is that your extension?
It is my direct
Oh,
extension.
people, I don't have that written down here. We'll have to make sure to put that on there.
So I
Extension
remember
12.
how I used to just be able to call you, and now it's getting a little bit more complicated as your farm's growing.
Oh goodness, my cell phone's still out there. It's on my business card.
Okay, good.
Oh yeah, we just before we close now, let's talk a little bit about our sponsors. You're listening to It's Your Money Radio. You can make more money, you can save more money, you can have more money for all your financial goals.
I just wanted to say on Facebook, if you want to find us, search at Your Money Radio.
At Your Money Radio.
At Your Money Radio.
And do that.
Sign.
And you will have all of the programs there. We have a Facebook feed.
Mm-hmm.
Go on there if you want to hear what Marilee said. You want to write down some of those things, like the where you have for all these information she's passed on today. You can get a hold of it. You got Scrivener Solutions, Gayla Scrivener, to do that. ScrivenerSolutions.com. The phone number is 276-6009. Dr. Michael Miller at Family Back and Neck Care, 889-2225. He's at 1440 East Republic Road. We're sponsored by Rooney, McBride, and Smith, 4905 South National Avenue. The phone number is 417-708-9681. And then we're a sponsor, Gary Mary Bingaman, A&D Mechanical Services, your plumbing, heating, and air company. And our phone number is 417-866-8257. And then, of course, we've got John Dittrich, and sometimes they don't do it.
At DB Advisors, and
Yes.
my number is 417-763-3345.
So hopefully we haven't caused too many. I have not caused too many flubs today, and
No,
so
that's pretty good.
it's an enjoyable day. It is always enjoy, Marilee, to be with
Thank
you
you.
here to do that. Next time, guys, get some questions for her, because I know you have to have questions about the insurance industry. I tend to look it up and
Closing comments?
yes.
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook at Marilee at GoClarity.com or Marilee with Clarity on Facebook. You can always check out our website at www.goclarity.com. So, yeah, I'd like
So
to
when we find you, we should like you too.
like my page. Yes.
I will definitely do that. We'll like your page, and you can find, I think we're all on Facebook now, so give us a look at. Guys, it's almost done. Have a wonderful day. Get out there, enjoy that weather, and remember, one day it might be coming. We'll see you then. It's Gary, John, and Marilee. Have a great week. Thank you.